So I don't know if anyone's noticed, but there's a new James Bond film out, and there's also been a lot of discussion around James Bond, including should there be a female James Bond, should there be a black James Bond, and all this other stuff that doesn't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. It's a proper lightweight issue, really. But nevertheless, I am very amused by the amount of triggered rightists that have appeared in GB News over there, as well as on Twitter. I love Twitter. Perfect place to get triggered right ring fucking nutters. But I'm very interested in this video when it popped up on my feed, which was James Bond a rapist? Oh, fuck. And by the way, yes, if you watch some James Bond films from the past, there are definitely scenes that could be construed as rape. Like 100% undeniable rape by today's standards. I'll put that little thing in for people who are just like, it wasn't rape at the time. We knew what rape was, and it wasn't rape at the time, or some stupid thing like that. But I just want to know what they have to say, really. He looks like the FA Cup, so I'd wonder what he says. And she looks very concerned with something, so I'll be interested to see what these people have to say. I'm sure it'll be very balanced.
Well, she's currently filming the next James Bond film, No Time to Die, and is not a fan of Sean Connery's iconic portrayal of James Bond. She dislikes the attitude to women that Connery's Bond displays and views him as basically a rapist.
Well, the filmmaker believes that the spy franchise has moved on drastically with its attitude towards women since the late Scottish actor.
Well, once again, I'm not going to say anything much here. I just want to let you know this is a very uncontroversial take on James Bond. It's literally a criticism that I have heard since childhood. So you're talking 20 years, 20 plus years, this criticism has existed. And I don't know why it's news. But
actor portrayed the first incantation of the suave spy. So joining us now to ask the question, is James Bond a rapist? Is the film critic Richard Fitzwilliams. Thank you for joining us, Richard.
Look at him.
I mean, isn't it understandable that the representations change over time? What we regarded as acceptable and normal and culturally popular 60 years ago or a few decades ago changes. And
same
now
old
that's
shit with the right wing.
in the film. So is it really wrong with the things that...
Same old shit with the right wing. I have no way of defending this, therefore I'm just going to say times change. Oh yeah, it's bad by today's standard, but we can't judge it by today's standard. It's a different time. Oh, fuck off! That you don't apply that to anything else. Like no one says about Jimmy Savile. Oh, but it was normal at the time. It was at the time. It was a little bit more acceptable. Oh, fuck off! No, we don't say that, do we? We don't say that. Oh, it was. Yeah, it was at the time. It was all right. Oh, yeah. He chased some people of different races out of the city with a big spade, but it was acceptable at the time. Oh, fuck off! No, that's not how this works.
That's been mentioned.
Well, I think it was absolutely essential that Cary Fukunaga, the director of No Time to Die, remember so much rests on this film because the cinema is, as you know, so badly hit by COVID, and our very relationship with that screen in the dark with others. Will it come alive again with mass audiences? With this movie, I hope so. But the way that it should be, and this is the reason for his comments about Bond in the 1960s, is that a fantasy franchise like this simply has to change. I mean, there are those who regarded Bond as a sort of a role model. Someone who saves the world, someone who's British, so we punch above our weight, and also someone who has, I think it is 79 romantic partners, and there's not much romance in most of it. In fact, there have only been two women out of those. There was on Her Majesty's Secret Service with George Lazenby and Diana Rigg, and then in Casino Royale, which was the sort of movie that I feel Bond should be about, far more realistic, there was Eva Greener's Vesper Lynd. Those are the only two that Bond seems to have had any feelings for. The franchise really should change. And remember, in No Time to Die, Bond's in retirement and comes out of retirement. There have been thoughts over the decades that this misogynistic dinosaur should be retired. Now, the cinema can't afford that, but it really does have to change into something more realistic and something more that's appropriate for the Me Too era.
Well, you say that it should change to something more realistic, but we're talking
Fuming!
about film.
They are fuming!
I mean, the whole James Bond character.
Oh my word! Look at their faces. Look at that face. He's broken like a bit of a half smile now, but for that second, they were fucking fuming. They wanted him to be on there and be like, "No, Bond is Bond. Don't change him. Don't change him." And he's not black in the novels either, so he shouldn't be black in cinema. That's what they wanted him to do, but he's minced them. He's gone like, yeah, he should. Basically, he's just gone. Bond's a cinema franchise. It's fantasy. It needs to change with times. Yeah, and they are fucking fuming with him. Oh my word! This has not gone how GB News wanted it.
Is not necessarily a realistic one. I mean, isn't that the point in James
It's not
Bond?
realistic.
It's a fantasy, it's an imagination, it's romantic. So why should you get rid of all of those elements in order to make it conform to the...
He didn't say that though. He didn't say that though, did he? He didn't say get rid of those aspects. He actually said, he reinforced, it's fantasy. And what he said was, the audience wants something different now, so we need to change for the audience because it is a cinema product that we need to sell to cinema goers, so he needs to change with times or no one will come see him. That's a very standard point of view. I don't like James Bond. I've never really been a big fan of the movies, so if I see No Time to Die, it'll be by accident, I imagine. Or it'll be because it's on TV or something, there's nothing else on. And I'm around someone else's house and they've put it on or something like that. Or maybe I'll match someone on Tinder and they just want to go to see it at some point down the line. I don't know. Anything could happen. But I'm not going to go on my way to see it. Well, that's not because of who James Bond is or anything like that. It's because I find those movies boring. Yeah. But if you put me in the job as like a cinema executive and you gave me the James Bond franchise, what would I do with it? I'd say, let's get the coolest motherfucking actor. I don't care. Male, female, trans, gay, straight, white, black, Asian, Native American, indigenous. I don't care. Just get me the coolest fucking actor you can find who's not already attached to a major franchise. And we'll make them Bond. Because people will come and see this cool motherfucker as Bond, regardless of who they are. That's what I'd be saying. And this guy, I think, would very much agree with me from the sound of things. He is very focused on James Bond is a product you sell to people. So in order to sell him to the most people, he needs to have the most appeal. Therefore, if the audience is demanding drop the rapiness and the toxic masculinity of James Bond, then so be it. He should change. And they don't like it because they thought, because he does look like a fucking Tory. Let's be honest, you look like a Tory. You might be a Tory, I don't know. But either way, even if you are Tory, even if you vote Conservative, your views on this are actually modern and fair. So I thank you very much, my friend. These guys aren't happy with you, though, clearly.
And prejudices of the present day.
I wouldn't get rid of all of it because you still want the gadgets. Some of them are very entertaining. You still want the exotic locations. You could have that. But why have plots? And the vast majority of Bond movies have had plots that have been, quite honestly, very silly. They've had characters like Jaws in it. I mean, so many of them
It's a hugely popular franchise. I mean, it's
Oh, well, indeed. Well, it's a popular franchise. It's the third most popular ever after Marvel and Star Wars. That's absolutely the
I'm not
case.
sure he
But
says Star Wars.
as we move
Star
on,
Wars.
and if Bond was the same character as he was 20, 30, 40, or a feminist touch, because the women, there have been practically no women
There was a skip
in
there,
the
weird.
whole of Bond. And this really shouldn't be the case, even whether it's a fantasy or not, who are really real people that you could relate to. Evergreen as Vesper Lind in Casino Royale, that was the one exception. I'm even Leah Sadu, and she appears again in No Time to Die as Dr. Madeline Swan.
Although I suppose the counter-argument to that is, of course, James Bond isn't someone that many normal people can particularly relate to either, as well as the women. I want to get your view on whether it was a touch
Okay,
too
mate.
far
Wait,
to
don't know,
call
that's you, mate, but okay.
Sean Connery's Bond an actual rapist. Is this language that we should really be using when discussing these kind of film classics?
Right, so he's just asked the direct question, is it right to be calling him a rapist? James Bond, that is. Sean Connery's James Bond, to be specific. And what he wants him to say is, no, that's absolutely unacceptable. He's a product of his time, and no one should complain about him. Let's see if he doesn't disappoint me here, and he shoots him down again, because that'll be class. That'll be just...
I think that those who admire, and I certainly one, I mean, Thunderball next to Casino Royale is my favourite Bond, and after that, Goldfinger. I think that Cary Fukunaga was using it deliberately to signify change. I'm sure that it won't affect the way that those of us who admire those movies watch them and enjoy them. I mean, we can use what language we want to describe a movie, but the main thing is that the franchise draws in vast audiences. It keeps cinema going, which is so difficult at the moment.
I love this guy. He's just hand waved that, so he's just gone like, so GB News guy, I don't know who he is, he looks like a nerd. Went, is it not unacceptable to call him a rapist? And he's gone, that's not important. It's stupid to focus on that. What's really important is we change and we make loads of money in the cinema. This is the best. Like, conservatives shouldn't have anything to disagree with there. Like, conservatives should be 100% on his side. Oh yeah, change and then make loads of money. Yeah, that's perfect. Like, isn't that not like a whole conservative thing? To, you know, like, make loads of money, be super capitalist. But this is just like when they call, like, you know, I don't know, like, someone give me an example. Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's gone woke and leftist by making deliberate marketing choices that makes them the most money. Hey, Coca-Cola, have you stopped raiding countries for water yet? Nah. Oh, it's just, I thought you were leftist now, so I thought you'd care about that. Nah, we just want more money, so we're just going to make our cans a bit rainbow every so often. Okay. Sorry, I was led to believe you were leftist now. Never mind.
And also, it does tell a story. You can have all the gadgets, exotic locations, and characters that you like, but the film, even if it's fantasy, should have realistic and exciting aspects to it, because it's so much more exciting if you can believe that it could happen, as well as keeping some of the magical moments that has kept Bond so popular over the years.
Finally, I mean, what do you think about turning James Bond, having a black
He's
James
fuming.
Bond or having a female James
Oh,
Bond?
here we
If I remember
go.
correctly, Daniel Craig didn't support having a female James Bond.
He's
so
loading up.
even he has limits on how much you.
Even he has limits. Wow.
Well, I mean, the James Bond, I think, at least to me, would be male. The colour of the heavier skin is irrelevant, but what you need is someone who has gender equality. Let's have a female Bond. There's no need to replace the male Bond with a female.
They are
let's
fuming.
Have both and enjoy both, but let's have a little bit of realism among the fun and the games and the colour and the spectacle of the stunts, because that will make it so much more exciting and more adult.
Oh.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
They are
this evening,
fuming.
film critic Richard Fitzwilliams.
They are fuming. I've had to take it back a little bit. I have to. I've got to watch that again. They are fucking furious with him. They're like, why did we book this guy? We needed someone to disagree with all this wokeism, and he's gone and agreed with it. Oh, those poor little cherubs over at EGV News, eh? Oh, they can't stand someone disagreeing with them. Fucking hell. Oh, I've got to watch this reaction again. It's fucking hilarious.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, film critic Richard Fitzwilliams.
I don't know. I still think that basically, if it's written as one thing, you've got to be relatively faithful to those Ian Fleming novels. And I think that there is something unique about the way that James Bond is as a character. And if we start straying away from that, what's the difference between him and Jason Bourne or any of the other sort of spy films? You've got to keep that.
So that was, I think, of all the GB News videos I've ever covered, this is my favourite. I love ragging on the GB News hosts and pointing out to you all their like rhetorical devices that they use to try and like manipulate the message and get gammons to agree with them and stuff. But I will never hit them on a personal level like a guest who they brought on clearly to spread some kind of propaganda, and he's gone against them and he's just disagreed with them. The butthurt in that guy's voice. I don't know. I kind of think Bond should be a straight-right male. He should be exactly as he is in the books. Alright, just want to point out, in the Ian Fleming novels, he's not Scottish. So, you know, when you got Sean Connery to do it and you hold him up as the ideal Bond, not what was in the books, I'm afraid. It wasn't supposed to be Scottish, I'm afraid. Oh, sorry. Sorry to break this to you, but you know, you've always actually been in favour of going away from the novels. You going back to that argument, we should just do what the novels say, is you being a racist motherfucker. And you can go fuck yourself, as far as I'm concerned, because your arguments are see-through and dog shit. Sorry, mate.